true about Heroes of the Storm gets thrown aboard because Braxis has its own rules.
So, Sunny Lion, if they ban out Genji, I feel really confident in saying that they could probably win again. This is an okay Illidan map, but it's not the best one. In fact, it's not a good one at all, really. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't think I've just ever seen it, so I assume it's not great. I mean, he could solo lane. Yeah, like the majority of the weapons of Sunny Lion just don't really work here.
Now, what's really cool, Tetcher, about this game here already between Sunny Lion and TheOne is the fact that it was Sunny Lion who chose that battleground in the first place. Because normally what we're used to seeing in HGC China is that a quote-unquote big favorite like CE or SBT would pick Braxis Holdout only to demolish their quote-unquote inferior opponents in a very handsome and quick way. Now, that almost went south for SBT last time when they were going for a Sylvanas comp to run it down top lane against that very team, against Sunny Lion, who held up quite admirably. So now it is the weaker team, Sunny Lion, who takes the stronger team onto Braxis.
And with Malfurion being picked up first, Genji banned out by Sunny Lion. What do Genji want to... what does Sunny Lion want to do? What's going to work for them here? This is, like I said, the drafts on this map are very different to a lot of the other maps, which is why we personally enjoy casting it. It can give variation. But with Genji removed, once again, I stick with my original statement. I think Sunny Lion, as long as their draft isn't just super terrible, honestly, they have a super good chance of winning this now, as they've removed one of the biggest weapons of TheOne. Now I just have to win the lanes and play around the map. And so far, they're starting off pretty good with that.
Yeah, this is looking like a mighty strong opening here for the Sunny Lions. They were able to get one of the most highly contested warriors into their own draft. Garrosh is being first picked here, and they followed up with a Hanzo, so they take one of the comfort picks away from Lucky. Now, this is really cool to see. On the one hand, they already shut down Genji, right? So that means Meng is not going to be able to play it on what is possibly Genji's best map, Braxis, for many reasons. A, he's a strong ganker in the top solo lane. B, he's a strong boss fighter, so he can always use Deflect to deal tremendous amounts of damage onto the boss. And as such, they also remove one of the strongest pokers, one of the strongest wave clearers in the 4-man lane with Hanzo. So up to this point, I like the confident and also very smart approach by Sunny Lion.
I agree. I like confident Sunny Lion. It looks good on them. I don't like the shit. Like, honestly, yeah. When they play confidently, they look really good. When they play, I would argue, nervously is what I think they would have played yesterday.
Yeah.
Then I'm less keen. So, some nice AoE damage. An interesting first tank choice in the form of Muradin here. I am unsure as to why. I mean, he's great on this map due to standing on the objective. Terrible on the Zerg wave. This is a statement by TheOne that they intend to win the Zerg wave every single time.
Yeah, I like this pick simply because we have Hehe on the side of TheOne, and his Muradin seems to have worked wonders. True, Muradin might not be the in-meta first warrior pick for most teams. However, when you have Hehe and you see his Stormbolt accuracy, you see his strong engages, his good flanks, then I think he can make this hero work like a charm. And there's another big thing, obviously you mentioned it, the self-sustain that Muradin provides on Braxis is very good because it saves your support a lot of mana. The support no longer has to pump those healing spells into you constantly because of Muradin's trait, the second wind. So all it takes is a few seconds staying off combat and Muradin will enter the fight again rejuvenated. So that is of course a very nice thing to have in the 4-man lane, in the bottom lane. So what is their draft now going to ban a second here? They take away the Malthael. That could speak for a Sonya yet again in the solo lane for Hugo.
I would agree on that. It would make a lot of sense. Although, there is nothing stopping Sunny Lion just taking it away.
True. That would be quite feisty. Now, it's hard to really steal all the heroes available for Hugo. He could always fall back on a Leoric, for example. He's very strong on that here. And even an Illidan is nothing out of the ordinary for Braxis Holdout. Illidan is a very strong solo laner against certain heroes. And the Hunt is also an ability on Braxis that cannot be underestimated.
Okay, we see Zarya. Interesting, but kind of cool. I mean, that's not a solo laner. That's going to be protection for the Hanzo. because now they need a support and a solo laner. So this is just going to be a big old group up bot lane. They save their solo laner for last. Okay, so what we'll end up seeing probably right now is the one. They will go for Sonya and something else. In this case, I would probably say maybe a Chromie, maybe just go for a maximum poke comp. Just all in on that. Or something like a little bit more auto-attack focus, like the Falstad or a Tychus, considering there's a Zarya in the game. The solo laner, they could also swap out Sonya for Varian here and have a potentially okay time. That is something they can do. Whereas Sunny Lion, I would like their response to that kind of play to be a Ragnaros, where the fact is, the one are all in on winning the objective via poking and full sustain. So you might as well just take the hero that just neutralizes the Zerg wave. If you don't think you're going to win the Zerg wave, then cancel it.
And see, this is exactly what we touched upon earlier. Braxis defies all rules. It has its own meta. Sometimes certain heroes will almost always exclusively get picked here. And the one, they're currently out of their comfort zone. They don't have the Genji. They're struggling to find a hero for Hugo. It seems they fall back on the Sonya once more. And now we see Meng's Cassia being deployed, because I can't imagine him playing Junkrat. That looks more like a lucky hero to me. So Meng no longer on these hyper-aggressive heroes like Genji or Greymane, but going for a more conservative approach with the Cassia. Now, mind you, his Cassia is very strong. It was played in 2017 quite a bit when Cassia was more popular in general, especially with the double support style. So yeah, I wouldn't say Meng's Cassia is bad by any means, but I think already they were forced to pick heroes that they normally probably wouldn't have picked, like the Cassia and like the Junkrat. Yeah. So can they make it work? That is the big question.
It is a peculiar draft, like you said, to see what they can do with it. Now, Sunny Lion, how do you finish off the draft here? With a solo laner, most certainly. So the situation there is they could go for Falstad again, but then they would be potentially quite low on front line, having to trust Zarya to do it. Varian, they could jump in for that themselves in this case, or jump back on the Ragnaros suggestion I gave. Even a Rexar wouldn't be the worst, extra little front line. Leoric is, as I keep saying when Leoric seems to get picked up, he is the safe and obvious choice.
Right.
Leoric is going to be able to do okay versus Sonya if she doesn't spear him in the face. He is okay in the team fight. Most importantly, he's probably the tankiest option they had available to them, who can actually stand on the front line without getting burst the second her shield is gone. Zarya would struggle to be the second front line. Ragnaros could struggle to be the second front line and would suffer from the blinds. Leoric has enough ability damage that it's going to be able to work through Cassia.
Yeah. I agree with almost everything you said, Tetra. I think Leoric is normally a very safe pick. Leoric, to me, also sometimes is a pick that you choose when you've run out of ideas. And I think that's maybe something that happened to Sunny Lion here. Because setting up a Leoric against Hugo, one of the strongest mechanical players in the league, and his Sonya, is always a risk. I'm going to be quite honest with you here. I think Leoric shouldn't be able to beat Sonya in a straight-up match lane face-up. For two reasons. First of all, Sonya has a couple of counters available. She can go block, and that will drastically reduce Leoric's combat efficiency. He has very slow attack speed. As such, these block charges will gain much more value than, let's say, against someone like Tracer or Tychus. And secondly, she has better self-sustain, so she should be able to bully Leoric out of the lane at any given moment. And we don't really see any strong gankers on the side of Sunny Lion as well, right? There is no Genji, no Zeratul this time around to really help Leoric in lane. So I think this game will be decided on how well the top laners do.
It's time to find out as we load into Braxis Holdout. And, ladies and gentlemen, on the left-hand side is Sunny Lion with Pow on Rhaegar, Jaina on the Zarya, BDB on Hanzo, Twilight on Leoric, and first is playing Garrosh.
Their opponents, the big favorites, but currently down 0-1. It is, no pun intended, the one. In the red trunks, we have Hugo on the Sonya, we have Lucky on the Junkrat, Cassia is being played by Meng, ZJZ on Malfurion this time, and Hehe back on one of his most comfortable warriors on the Muradin.
As Hehe is going to pop in and say hello to anyone in that push, looking for a perfect storm stack. In the meantime, Sunny Lion are looking to take some tower damage. An old-fashioned strategy. The reason teams used to do this was to drain tower ammo. Nowadays, it is purely about damage, which is why you'll see 5 heroes doing it, as opposed to the usual just Zarya.
Lots of damage being dealt onto Jaina already, who's currently playing the Zarya. Forced to take the healing fountain already. And it looks like both teams are trying to shake things up here. They switch lanes all together. They're now having the 4-man in top and the bottom solo in the solo lane at the bottom.
And yeah, it is a full swap. Let's see who this benefits, depending on which team gets what Zerg in which lane. Because obviously, you want the Zerg in your 4-man lane. It gives you the best amount of pushing potential. Unless you have terrible pushing potential, in which case you're doing it in your solo lane, and then you push as a group instead. It looks like it's going to be in favor of Sunny Lion up in the top lane, so they can try pushing with this. Hanzo to ping in arrows as often as possible.
Yep. And we saw a really cute move here by Junkrat, by Lucky. He was actually flinging Garage into the backline, so he got to taste a bit of his own medicine, but first realizing that Wildlight is likely going to get ganked soon because Murden was nowhere to be found. And when you call out those misses, man, you better send someone up there as well to help your solo laner in need. But both main tanks now rotating top again. Hugo maintaining control of the bottom beacon while Hanzo is getting completely shut down and blown to pieces by the one.
A nice route by ZJZ, setting that up. Oh, Meg very nearly getting himself in trouble thanks to the flip by first. But first, like you said, body box, route, and dead. The one much better at the start of this game as Wildlight and Hugo continue to duel, the draining of the hope of Hugo as he is forced to pull back.
Yeah, and Hugo didn't go for block, by the way, which I think is a... personally, I think that is a mistake. I think Sonya struggles way more from Leorg's auto attacks than, you know, the abilities, because normally the Drain Hope should be relatively easy to dodge. Sonya has a little bit of increased movement speed after spearing, for example. So going for the blocks, I think, is usually deflecting more damage than going for the War Paint, which, of course, provides more sustain. Because look at that. While she's spinning, she can't auto attack. So... yeah, Sonya's losing a little bit of value in that regard. But anyways, Hugo's probably a much better player than I am, so let's see how much value this talent will net him throughout the game's course.
Jaina grabbing herself some Zarya on Jay. I managed to mess that up in every possible way. Jaina on Zarya, taking some tower shots with her shield up to give herself some more energy so she can ping in more damaging Q-based grenade shots. There we go, finally did it. As we see first continuing to hold the point. At the moment, a solid trade, 36-62, still in favor of the one. And Muradin trying to give himself the advantage, gets the stun out, but still takes a much safer route. This doesn't want to get flipped away from his team, keeping his Dwarf Toss up and very patiently holding it. He gets thrown out, jumps back in, looks for a Storm Bolt, lands it, but not enough for a kill.
I want you guys to pay attention to Lucky's Junkrat. Like, his grenade accuracy in this game has been absolutely through the roof. He was landing almost every single one of them, causing the hero to be super efficient when it comes to poking down and, you know, skirmishing from a long distance. He now in that burst, that is one of his specialities, trying to slow the rotation down. Because guess what? They want to defend the bottom lane, Sunny Lion that is. By slowing them down in the rotation, he made sure that, you know, the towers and the gate is going to take a little bit of free damage. So these are, you know, tiny little details that could actually make a big difference in the end. For now, though, the Zerg wave, the swarm has come, joined by 4 members once again. The lane setup has been swapped now. In top lane, we see Hugo, who shouldn't really have a big, hard time dealing with Leorg and the tiny Zerg wave for the blue team.
Yeah, and I spoke about this at the start. The one, they sort of set themselves up for a comp that was made to win the Zerg wave. That was their commitment. Yes. The fact they have done so means that Sunny Lion, it's become very obvious that their comp is not built to defend it. Down goes Hanzo, and yeah, I honestly think that Sunny Lion's comp is just a mistake. They have not built around their opponent's comp. They haven't built to win the Immortal, or at least they tried and haven't managed to do it. Yeah. And they also haven't built to defend. So therefore, first 4 easily goes over to the one. 3 kills to 0 to the one. The one in full control of this game.
And we saw this yesterday. Zarya at the moment doesn't seem to be a lucky charm for most of those Chinese teams. We saw RPG trying to go for Zarya yesterday. They failed admirably. Now Sunny Lion, they're trying to really, you know, enforce this hyper-aggressive pushing playstyle onto the one with Zarya. They failed tremendously up to this point. They're 2 levels behind. Now it's only going to be 1 with 7 around the corner. But Zarya just doesn't seem to be the hero in the current meta that will give those Chinese teams great value. Look at that cheeky Dwarf Toss over the gap. getting slowed now. Good Stormbolt onto Garrus. That's exactly the target he wanted to hit. Is he going to have another jump?
Why is he here, though? What was his purpose for being there? He was just annoying Hanzo.
You know, I think, is sometimes overstaying his welcome, not knowing his own limits. He was trying to, once again, maybe just distract the enemy team while his teammates are going for the mercenary camp in the bottom half, but that backfired so hard, and it is now Sunny Lion laughing and taking this mercenary camp with great pleasure.
Well, that's like saying it's a distraction is like saying here is our only siege tank in StarCraft. I'm going to use this as a distraction while I push in with Marines. Or while I build another barracks. It's not a sacrifice that you should need to take.
All right, and now all of a sudden, with that one misplay by Hehe, who's trying to go in very aggressively yet again, you know, the Sunny Lion, they bought themselves a little bit of time. They got themselves a little bit of a breather, taking the mercenary camp, the bottom half, distracting, slowing down the one. You know, they're getting a little closer to level 10 themselves now. Oh, face checking against the Muradin is normally a very scary thing to do. Sunny Lion, they're eager. They're trying really hard to make something happen pre-level 10 because they realize that the one is definitely going to get that a little sooner.
Yeah, the one that luckily, even with that death on Muradin, they were far enough ahead that they're still going to hit level 10 first, like you said. And now they're actually having Muradin stay near his teammates so that he can react in time if he needs to. Sonya going to help Junkrat up in the top lane. So they're trying to get a 2v1 versus the Auric. They succeed in being able to control the point when it spawns, or at least gaining control. Junkrat, though, they're going to make this back to a normal 4v4 and a 1v1, with Hehe coming in from one side and Junkrat coming in back with the rest of his team.
Right, here goes an engagement Hanzo, and it was Feed B in those previous engagements as well that ended up falling first. Level 10 is not yet here, no Ancestral Healing, and here goes the Riptire getting stunned as well by Hehe, making up for his misplay earlier. And without his natural agility being available because he had just been using it, Hanzo was easy prey.
See, in Overwatch, that would be considered massive overkill, burning a single Riptire on one person. But in Heroes, one, it's super satisfying, and two, good moves. Being able to kill Hanzo especially is giving yourself a wonderful little advantage here. Here is a boss attempt by the one. They have a man advantage. They are able to take positioning. Now such boss goes over to them. Now they all have to move top lane because Leoric has been sneaky first, also coming in to help. First gets ambushed from behind. He will go down, and Leoric also.
This is the worst possible time for Sunny Lion to lose both of their frontliners. That means they're not going to have anything to defend top lane against the Goliath Archangel boss here, but they also won't have anyone to contest the beacons any longer. They were able to snatch away the bottom, but Hugo decided he's had enough. He's trying to engage onto Rhaegar. They're both on the flight now, on the retreat, and I think Jaina is going to be the first hero to fall. Zari has very little mobility. Here comes the Ancestral, the Expulsion Zone. Can they turn around? They can.
Nice Dragon Arrow for that turnaround. Hehe having a Dwarf Toss, but Rhaegar with a slowing totem. Hanzo pushing forward. The Avatar has been popped to try and keep him alive. 14 minus armor. Wow. And a snipe with that Sonic Arrow. Good kill. Oh boy. Oh, never mind. Meg has shown up again. Looking for Jaina. The Riptire will get hit three members here. Okay, so it's a 2 versus 3. What can Meng do? He dodges the last hit of the March of the Black King, make his way back to his base. Does he have a fountain? Yes, he does. Do they want to try and turn this round? They could potentially try. They have a huge amount of damage output, but no, with the Auric backing, now they can turn around because it's just Garrosh. That's going to be an easy kill, and at least a chase away.
And look at the Archangel doing so much damage onto the top lane here. Minions even intercepting the Keep's defense shots here. So, you know, the Sunny Lions, they're fighting hard to keep that Keep safe and sound. Now, Lucky on the chase. Long range on those grenades. He hits 1, he hits 2, but the third one doesn't connect. And as such, first gets to safety this time. The top Keep has been saved. Not everything is all dark and gloomy here for Sunny Lion. There is a little bit of light left on the horizon, but can they actually stall it out long enough for level 13? I think the next Zerg wave from the top lane is probably going to seal the deal for the Keep and potentially even the core if they lose any team members while defending.
Percentage begins to tick up for the one. Nice grenade by Hanzo. Able to earn them a little bit of extra percentage on that Zerg wave. Muradin from behind does not land the Stormbolt. Looking for his opportunity to try and cut someone off. First will be the target here as they move in. Good expulsion zone will split the team and prevent a willing chase, because if they did, they would put themselves in huge danger of being turned on while outnumbered.
Yeah, Tetris, Sunny Lion, they weren't 13. It looked to me like they were going all in, maybe fearing, maybe being afraid of that Zerg wave finishing the game anyway. So they decide to step back, they decide to defend, and maybe hold at the core. And I think that was the smarter decision. If they had lost any team members here, I think it would have been game over. Now the shields on first are huge, though. Jaina also needs to get the safety. If they lose one member, that could be lights out for the Sunny Lions. True, that keep is going to fall, but can they hold the core?
They're moving forward. Twilight's ground attack. Good mark to the Black King, but misses the last two shots, and down goes one member, two members. One of them is Neoric, and a big shot there with the Stormbow by VB into the fray. Ooh, nearly runs into a grenade anyway. It dies, but with the Zerg wave on the core, even with those three members alive to defend, that is gonna be it. GG, and the one able to recover, bring themselves into a 1-1, earn themselves a single point.
All right.